When I was a child, I used to be that terrible kid who broke his toys and my sister's in order to take the inner parts and make my own thing. At school, I remember drawing all the time in the margin of my notebooks. So I guess that the combination of that creative, destructive curiosity and the desire to express myself visually led me to what I do today. The role of the graphic designer is to speak in a language that is universal. That assumption implies that you have to be able to connect with something deep inside each of us that is common to our human nature. You have to understand how we perceive the world around us, not just from a physiological point of view, but from an emotional one. So, in a way, what we do is to make visible the language of emotions.
Actually, I'm more concept-driven than aesthetics-driven. I think if you start from an aesthetic point of view, it's limiting for your creative potential, because you end up doing something you know you're going to do. On the other hand, if you start with a concept, then creativity flows without any restrictions. To me, emotion and perfection are the two basic ingredients that has to be present in a good piece of design. And both are important because emotion is basically what moves us. So it's best if you can connect at an emotional level. It makes the difference from just understanding something to make it your own. Technique or perfection to me is equally important, but for me technique has to be transparent in order to allow the message to express fully. I try to avoid commercial software as much as possible. Commercial software gives you too many predefined answers, so there's little room for you to make your own mark. I try to make my own tools, so I think in that way I have more freedom to create. Art is about self-expression, whereas design is about communication. I think the world of art is a very good source of inspiration, both from a content point of view and from an aesthetic point of view for the designer. But then the process of the designer is completely different. For example, when you work for the music industry, which I work a lot, you have to be very careful not to overshadow the message or the content of the music itself. So in that sense, the design is something you incorporate to amplify the experience. I think it's a crucial element, and I think it's what makes this profession so challenging because of its potential for contribution to society at large. In fact, I prefer the term imagination than creativity, because imagination is more open. Creativity is more related to process, whereas imagination is more with attitude. We have to compete for a very short attention span. So in order to catch the user's attention, we have to be able to connect at an emotional level, because rationality is not involved in the buying process or in the decision-making process. I think it is, and it is possible to do that and still keeping in mind the objective of the product or the project. I guess some clients hire designers because of their visibility, so then the signature becomes more important than the design. I tend to prefer to work in a more anonymous fashion.